Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have another mind-boggling confession from our brother. This confession is something based on a conversation we had with this our brother, where he shared with us a lot of secrets into the way people do struggle before they get money in the dark kingdom. I must say that this message reveals the need to wait for your own appointed time to make it in this life. Because the things that people are going through all in the name of wanting to be counted among the affluent in the society. They do this with no regard of the consequences. Only for them to regret it most of the time, when it catches up to them. Without taking much of your precious time, let us go and hear for ourselves what this confession is all about. Before we go on, if you're new here, please do us this favor and subscribe to the channel for US, and please do share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
So first of all, I would like to say that this is my own story. And I don't speak for anyone, but I have witnessed, been through and done. That is what I want to share with you, so that it might help or be of benefit for others. This is not a story of regret and disappointment. But this story is just a lesson for me myself and any other person out there who would care to listen to me. I am going to be blunt with you. So maybe I might come as rude, but please do not let it get the best of you. I just have to tell it just as it is. Whatever I tell you today is all about the sacrifices I did and still doing in order to stay alive. Because the thing is that, if I decide not to go through with the rituals when the appointed time reaches, then I stand to lose everything, including my life. Therefore, I will have to start by saying, because of this fear of me losing my life, I have a particular rituals that I do every time when it is my birthday. And as a result of that, I have sacrificed 8 ladies now. Even though I am not proud of whatever I am involved or I am doing, I still do not have any choice but to it. You see, when it comes to money, and whatever you call wealth, I have it in abundance. But then, I am not happy enjoying my wealth anymore. I feel this is way beyond what I bargained for. But like I said, I have no choice than to go ahead in order to maintain the wealth and my life. It all started when I decided to move to the city to hustle for my dream to become a reality. But to take you back, I lost my parents at a very young age. I only do have one younger brother who became my responsibility after their death. I wasn't expecting such a burden because, when my parents died, because of the way they used to relate with their family members, I thought that at least some help will come from their side to support us. But then, everything that especially my father's senior brother promised to do, he never fulfilled any of those things. It was one woman who was a friend to my parents that decided to take us in as her own children. It was from his kitchen that our food that we were eating were coming from. How we all survived was not something that I believe was important to any of the family members. I decided not to continue school again when I completed junior high school. So that my younger brother can have that help the woman was giving us. This way, I was helping her with work so that, at least, she can see my brother through school. When my brother finished junior high and I knew that he wanted to continue his education, that was when I decided to move to the city to see if I can make something to also support his education. My coming to the city was influenced by some friends who had already moved to the city, who convinced me about me also moving to the city to try my luck and chances to see if it will work for me. And so, they made the arrangements for me to be with them in the city. I remember very well that day, when I got to the lorry station and it was raining. My small phone that I had on me at that time, the network wasn't good and my friends were not there as promised. Apparently, the one who was to come and get me said that he came and couldn't find me and the lines were not going through because of the network issues. So, when he waited and couldn't see me, he gave up and went back thinking I would call when I get down. But then, eventually I was able to get them and they came for me. At that time I was completely beaten by the coldness of the weather. That was how I got to the city. And in my mind, I knew it was not going to be easy, but I needed to embark on this journey to try and make it work for me and my younger brother. I left him with the woman and moved. We will talk from time to time through the week when I get the least chance. Just to know how he was doing and all that. My friends will go to work and leave me home, because at that time, I had not secured job yet. So, one evening when one of them came home from work, he told me that his boss was talking about the fact that his brother had opened a bakery business. And he wanted people to start working in there. And so, he advised me to take that chance and see if it will work out for me. He knew about my background in this bakery business. Because the woman who after our parents died, took us in, was a caterer. Even though she was not into bread, I knew all about pie and donuts. So I knew I could use that knowledge I have there. When I got to meet with the man, he told me that he had people who would be mixing and doing all that matters when it comes to the bread. But from the way I talked to him, and pleaded with him to take me even if I was just to be a cleaner there, he looked at me and told me that he wants me to be a part of his team that will be distributing the bread. I was overjoyed and thanked him, letting him know how much it meant to me. I promised I was never going to be a disappointment to him. He welcomed me and I went back home. That was how I started working in the city. And you see, I told you that I am into bread making. That was where I learned everything that I know now about how we make bread. The business decisions of it. I mean everything that has to do with that line of business, I learned from there. And what I mean by I learned from there, does not mean that I went inside with the women to learn how to do the mixing of the flour and all that. But the ideas on how to run the business effectively is what I am talking about. When I started working with them, I knew there was no way I had to go slow on my work. And so, I gave it my all. And after some few months with them, everyone in the workplace liked me. They were always happy to see me at work. And when say I was not feeling well, and do not go to work, everybody at the workplace will call to check up on me. For this reason, my boss took a particular likeness to me, and always made sure that I didn't lack anything as far as work and the little amounts that he was giving me besides my monthly salary. This new relationship between me and my boss grew to a point where he asked me to stop doing the distribution. He had opened another branch, and he made me the manager of that branch. And it was a dream come true for me. I knew that I had landed. Because, even when I was just a mere distributor of his bread in the company, he treated me well. And now that he had made me a manager, I knew I was on my way to do something good for myself and my brother. What happened was that he asked me to come and live in his house. The house had a boys' quarters at the back. And he gave me one apartment there, and that was how I moved away from my friends to live with him. Even though at first, I didn't want to move in with him. But my friends were even the ones that were pushing me to go, since it was clearly from his heart. And there is this that I must tell you. It was me agreeing to stay in his house that led me into this kind of life that I found myself in. Let me tell you a little bit about this man. He is so much rich that I am not sure any of his descendants will suffer. He is that much rich. Rich is even understatement. He is living in his own world. And he has his wife and has 3 kids. One thing is that he is a church elder in the church where he worships. And it was much of a shock to me when I got to know the other side of him and the fact that he is a church elder. That was when I got to understand what they say that church nowadays is all about the money and not to preach anything good to anybody. If I am to start talking about the things that he does and still goes to church and assume the position as the church elder, then it definitively means there is something wrong in the church nowadays. Anyways, away from that for now. So I moved to his house and work continued for some time. And one evening when after I have finished eating, he called me to his summer hut. It was this time that he said that he sees how hardworking I was and he is much pleased with me. But he wanted to know my story. Since all the time that I was working for him, he had not have time to talk deep with me. So, he wanted to use that opportunity to talk with me and to get to know my story. So, when I told him how when our parents died, the family practically neglected us. And it was only some woman who was a friend to my parents that took me and my younger brother in. And as such I couldn't complete school. And so, I told him I was in the city to make money. And make my brother, the woman and even my dead parents proud. After everything that we talked about, he told me that he was not promising me. But then, when the time comes, he will see how best he can help me to also establish myself. But then, he told me that help will only be based on how well I want to make money. And how tough my mind is. I didn't think that he meant something deeper than I was thinking. I never knew that help was the one that will even take my happiness away from me. Even when I have made so much money in life. I continued my work waiting for when he will help me like he has told me. He called me the second time and had another conversation with me. But then, he asked me one specific question. He asked for how I see people who have made it so much in life, but the source is not what the society thinks. So, when he asked that question, I told him that if there was a way to make money, and someone has found that way and it is working for him or her, I have no issues with it. After I said that, I noticed some smiles on his face. We talked also about my vision. He wanted to know what I would do if I had money, as of the time he was talking to me. When he realized I didn't even have any good plans for myself, he told me not to worry. He will start teaching me more about his line of business and how to run it. Little did I know that all the conversations that he was having with me were just a preparation and wanting to know my level of maturity. So that if maybe he eventually opened up to me, I will not turn out to spoil his image. At this point, I had been sending my younger brother some money as well as the woman. So that they will be okay back home. I also visited them a couple of times, so that I will know how much they are faring for myself. My boss always would tell his wife to watch out for the next billionaire whenever I would be with them. Either at home or maybe work. He says that, and the wife will always bring in the fact that I deserve that. Because of the way I'm serious about work. She will always say that she will be happy to see me climb that ladder to the top. One day, my boss told me that he was traveling, and he will return the next day. So I should get ready, because when he comes, his next trip, he will be going with me. That trip was the day my life changed completely. And I was never the same person I used to be, coming from my hometown to hustle in the city.
Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. After listening to this story, I will say that life indeed is something that no one can predict. And you can't even seem to understand what life is all about. I honestly wish the youth of these days will listen to some of the important lessons in these stories that we share. You see, I will say that having ambitions in life is all good. And wanting to go the extra mile for the loved ones in our lives is also good. But always have it at the back of your mind that you will not let that ambition destroy you. The world indeed is heading to a place where morals are lost in our living. And the only thing that matters to us more is the love for money. I am not saying don't love money. But don't be in a dangerous or difficult position or situation, all because of money. Because when it happens that way, always the results, or the decisions that we take, most at times are flawed. And it goes a long way to turn and then come back to hurt us. When you have a dream or ambition, work towards it gradually, till you become master of your vision. I just hope that we honestly take the important lessons from these stories to better our lives and decisions. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.